From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams.
On our broadcast tonight, feeling the heat. Records are falling as temperatures rise, and now the serious business and deep impact of this drought and how everyone's about to pay for it. Good evening. The drought of 2012 affects about 55% of this country, 26 out of our 50 states, but tonight it's now clear all Americans will pay for it. One scientist said today we're moving from a crisis to a horror story. He said there are fields of grain in this country that will produce 0 crops this year. There's no rain in the forecast in the affected area till the middle of next week, and the relentless heat again today across much of this country did not help. More on that in a moment. First tonight, the impact on one crop and how we'll all pay for the enormous damage being done to cornfields across this country. This is how Americans will pay the price for the worst drought in half a century. We begin our coverage tonight with NBC's Kevin Tibbles in Waterloo, Iowa. Kevin, good evening.
Brian, this is about as dry as it gets. The farmer who planted this crop says he can only expect to get about 30% of the corn from this field than he did last year. In Dunkerton, Iowa, the stunted, brown-baked fields of corn tell it all. The worst drought in half a century is taking its toll. Just ask the farmers pulling in to sell stockpiled corn at the local grain co-op. What's your crop look like?
Right now it's withering.
Bob Kajewski is delivering last year's corn just to fulfill this year's contracts as the yield on his and other farms plummets.
33 years we've always had a crop, but it's not looking good right now.
And yet farmers were so optimistic. This year's corn crop was the largest planted in 75 years, 96.4 million acres. Now the nation's midsection is reeling, with Kentucky, Missouri, Indiana, Illinois, and Kansas having the hardest hit crops.
We were set out to raise what we thought was probably the largest corn crop in the history of American agriculture, and yet now we're in a challenge of looking in some cases at no crop.
And a reduced crop or no crop ripples throughout the economy.
We're going to have to ration corn usage for feed, ethanol, livestock usage and everything.
Already the price of corn has shot up on the Chicago futures market.
It is probably the one most important thing to just like life on the planet next to water.
And the price of corn affects almost everything.
We use corn as a feed for livestock, as a feed for poultry. So when the price of corn goes up, that pushes up the price of just about everything that we buy at the supermarket.
And lots of other corn products we buy too, from crayons to car tires to shampoo and makeup. The consumer will pay the price.
At this particular time, with a weak economy, a weak job markets, and weak wage gains, any increase in price is something that's going to hurt more than it normally would.
But for now, life on the farms of America's heartland is just plain tough. Life for many farmers as they sit and watch their crops dry up. All they can do is look to the heavens and pray for rain. But Brian, for many of them, rain just isn't coming.
What a sad story there for those family farms. Kevin Tibbles in Waterloo, Iowa tonight. And for more on the worst of it, where it's headed next.